Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about The Witcher, and specifically the relationship between Geralt and Renfri. Now, full disclosure, I am a hopeless romantic. The Witcher series of books and games appealed to me in part because of the underlying themes of destiny and love. The Witchers are believed by pretty much everyone not to have or express emotion, certainly not like ordinary humans. But through Geralt, we see that isn't necessarily the case. And an important part of his journey is not only coming to terms with his destiny, but also the reality that he can love and be loved despite who and what he is. And this plays out in several relationships that Geralt finds himself in, and women he finds himself falling for. Now, the fandom may be pretty well divided between Team Yen and Team Triss, but one of my favorite love stories in the Witcher saga is one short, sweet, yet somber encounter that occurs between Geralt and a young princess named Renfri. We're introduced to Renfri in The Last Wish, the first of the two collections of short stories, the other being Sword of Destiny, that precede the main Witcher saga. In the Netflix series The Witcher, her story plays out in Season 1, Episode 1, The End's Beginning. Renfri's story is, well, tragic. When we meet her, she's hunting a wizard by the name of Stregobor, who, at the behest of her evil stepmother, conveniently deemed the girl a dangerous mutant simply for being born under eclipse. Think Snow White, only darker. She kills the huntsman who raped her to get away. She finds herself outcast with 7 dwarves. She survives a poisoned apple and evades other assassination attempts on her life. Renfri grows up wild and strong and fierce and feared, but she never forgets who she is, or what she is, or who ruined her life. Her transformation into a bandit was a means to defend herself, but also to someday avenge what was done to her, what was taken from her. And this is where Renfri meets Geralt in Blaviken. Geralt is in town for other reasons, but is called to meet with Stregobor, who, cornered by Renfri, implores the Witcher to kill her, as doing so would be, he says, choosing the lesser evil. Geralt refuses because he doesn't believe in a lesser evil or choosing sides, but he agrees to speak with Renfri and attempt to talk the girl out of taking revenge. There is an unsuccessful encounter at the end, then fast forward to that evening. Renfri comes to Geralt alone. There, and this is the part that really stayed with me, Renfri pours out her soul, recounting every painful detail of her past, every justification for why Stregobor deserves to die, for what he's done, why he has to die. And Renfri is all but begging Geralt to help her to end her pain, but he refuses. Now, to be clear, Geralt empathizes with the girl. They had so much in common. As they talk about what it is to be a monster, you realize they both had childhoods they didn't ask for, excruciating experiences that changed the very fabric of their being. They survived what few others could and came to be perceived by the masses as monsters they truly weren't. Geralt pleads with Renfri to leave in order to show the world that she isn't the monster that they think she is. Geralt is a mutant. I mean, technically, he is all but a monster. He's been that way, he's been created that way, and he can't change. But the stories about Renfri simply aren't true to him, just a ploy by a rogue mage and his bitch queen to take the girl's throne. He's convinced Renfri can be saved. He almost needs her to be saved. He can't make himself less of a monster, but she can. Renfri realizes in that moment that he just doesn't get it. And in a touching conversation, she expresses to Geralt her pity for him. Her eyes glistening at his naive and yet hopeful, beautiful perspective. She knew what she would have to do, and it wasn't back down. And I believe that it was also in this moment that Renfri fell for Geralt, because he genuinely didn't see her as a monster. He was the first person since perhaps her childhood who saw her as she was, a princess, not her broken heart, not her broken spirit. And to satisfy him, she agrees to leave. They share smiles and sweet banter, and ultimately they share a bed. But it isn't until the next morning that Geralt realizes he was deceived. What's important here, though, is not that he was deceived. What's important that despite all of his senses, he was deceived because he believed her. He wanted to believe her. He was desperate for her to change. By and by, when Stragobor doesn't come down from his tower, we discover that Renfri's ultimatum to the wizard was that he would come down or she would slaughter the town until he did. Well, he refused because he didn't care. And Geralt, who didn't ordinarily believe in a lesser evil, was forced to choose to save the town. Geralt sliced through Renfri's swordsman like butter until Renfri ultimately was forced to fight him herself. As they engage in a deadly dance of swords, Geralt can't see that Renfri is already defeated. Even in the midst of their battle, he's still hoping she'll give up. Going against his own nature, Geralt holds back during much of the fight, begging her to go. Fighting his instincts against a deadly foe in effort to disarm her until he can delay the inevitable no more. Renfri wasn't backing down. She was defeated, and she wanted to die. Geralt had to realize, and I love how in the show you can see it in his expression, but whatever could have been, could never be. And we know Renfri meant so much more to him than perhaps he even knew by his reaction after her death, which was so foreign, so out of character. He didn't even recognize himself. In that moment, a part of the hope that Geralt had placed in Renfri died when she did, and his belief system was shaken to the core. It was through Renfri that Geralt sought to save the monster in himself. Instead, he left even more a monster in the eyes of the very people he saved at her expense. In the show, Renfri was perfectly cast, the fight beautifully choreographed, and it looks as impressive and as dangerous on screen as it reads in the book. Renfri left a lasting impression on Geralt, and I love how this is conveyed in the show with visions and memories, his calling her name and attaching her brooch to his sword. I'm amazed and pleased with how well the show captured their relationship, and they remain my favorite pairing, however brief, in the entire story. But tell me, what do you think? What team are you on? Who do you think is truly the love of Geralt's life? Thank you guys for joining me. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys next week.